Okay, so first of all, I want to thank Wagner and Christina for this most kind invitation, and especially for the culinary experience we have had until now. No, I'm not joking, because as you will see in a minute, it really inspired my lecture. Okay, so let's start. And in a second, you will see why is this so important. Okay, so I was not joking. Okay, what I intend to do is give you a presentation about the coins in the area of the southern Levant. This is the far end of the 5th Persian satrapy during the end of the Persian period, the last phase of the Persian period, from the more or less the middle of the 5th century until a little bit after the conquest of Alexander the Great. Since I assume that most of you haven't ever seen this coin, so I'm going to do it slowly and give you like a taste, a culinary taste of the coins in our area, which, as you can see, they are much relating to food and fusion. And if I just read what it says now, fusion cuisine is cuisine that combines elements of different culinary traditions. Cuisines of types are not categorized according to any one particular cuisine style and have played a part in innovations of many contemporary restaurant cuisines since 1970s. Okay, now if we take this sentence and we are going to now transform it to a numismatic sentence, okay? So we take parts of the sentence and add a numismatic part. Okay, the same sentence, but now it has transformed to numismatics, and I read it again. Fusion coinages are coins that combine elements of different cultural traditions. Coinages of this type are not categorized according to any one particular coinage style and have played a part in innovations of many contemporary Palestinian coinages in the 5th and 4th century BC. As you can already see here, this is the only not kosher coin. As you can see, the coin on my right side, it has a Janus head with a pig. That's very important. Okay, so now let's show you what we're going to speak about. So this is the area of current Israel, and we will be speaking about the coins of, in a taste, the coins of Samaria, northern Israel, Samaria and Mount Gerizim, the coins of Judea, or the Yehud coins, the coins of Edom in Idumea in southern Palestine, and the coins of Philistia in the southern coast of Israel. That's the last coins. Okay, so when all this really begins, it starts in the year 1779. This is the first publication of a Philistian coin, and this coin was published, of course, by who else other than Josephus Ekel, founder of modern numismatics science and the director of the Imperial Coin Cabinet in Vienna. In his famous book from 1779, in the section Numi Incerta, because he didn't know what this coin was about, he published actually this dracham of Ashkelon. As you can see, it has which looks like a head on one side, an owl on the other side. If we have a closer look at this coin, you will see this is the actual coin at the Kunsthistorische Museum cabinet. You see the head on one side, the owl on the other side, but opposed to the Athenian owls, you can see it has this Western Semitic inscription, Aleph and Nun, the first and last letters of the city of Ashkelon. So we know that this coin was minted in Ashkelon. On the other hand, if we go a little bit farther in time, we are right to 1814. This is actually the first publication of a coin of Yehud, the first Jewish coins minted in Jerusalem. And this appeared in the publication of Taylor Combet, who was the keeper of the coin department at the British Museum at the time. Actually, he publishes the first catalog of the coins of the British Museum in 1814. The collection actually began in 1759, but the first corpus of coins of the British Museum appears only in 1814. And of course, thanks to Francois for the photo. And as you can see, coin 21, here is, sorry, not 21, 12, is actually the famous Yehud Dracham at the British Museum. This is what's anvil when it comes down, and so that's that. So you know, now just explaining some effects. This is the actual coin, and you can see the representation of what's supposed to be probably the Jewish god. The coin was actually published as reading Yahu, Yahu meaning the Jewish god. And you can see the first identification, the correct identification of the coin as belonging to the area of southern Palestine appears in JP6 publication of 1877. When he describes the coin, he believes that the coin was probably minted in Gaza, depicting the Jewish god Yahu. And this is the inscription that he described at the time. And only in the publication of 1934 by Sukenik, he actually realized that the inscription should read Yud Hei Dalet, meaning Yehud, and not Yahu. Yehud is the abbreviation for the province of Judah in the Persian period. Recently, this coin that you see here I bought it for the collection of the Israel Museum. It's a unique coin. This is the second earliest coin, or in my opinion, this is actually the earliest coin of Judah ever minted, probably around 400 BC. You can see a Gorgon head facing. We'll change it to show you a drawing of the coin, and then you can easily see. So you see a Gorgon facing. On the other side, you see a lion on top of a bull, and the legend in Aramaic, Yud Hei Daled, Yehud. These two coins together represent now the earliest coins. The one we saw from the British Museum, this one represents the earliest coins minted in Judah. Now I want to show you how you can date the coins, and this is relevant to this coin, but it's relevant to any coin that you might come across. As you could see, you see the depiction of the Gorgon in the coin is the depiction of a beautiful Gorgon of the type of the early 4th century BC. You can see parallel coins from Cilicia from the 4th century. And this is compared to the earlier types where you see the apotropaic Gorgon, which is a more fearful representation with the tongue outside. And those are earlier coins of the 5th century. So we know that basically we're talking about more or less 400 BC. And the question here rises, where was this coin actually minted? Because Philistia was already minting coins around the middle of the 5th century BC, and the province of Judah, we believe, started a little bit later. Now, if you see the coin, and if I would take out the legend of the coin, you would think it's a really typical Philistian representation of a coin, and you will see it in a minute. Take, for instance, this coin, and in the lower row, which will just appear right now, I flipped the coin up in the upper, the coin, the Yehud coin, I flipped it around, and in the lower register, you see coins minted in Philistine. You can see that the motif appearing in the Yehud coin is exactly taken from the Philistine coins, so we actually believe this coin was minted somewhere in Philistia for the province of Judah in the 4th century, at the beginning of the 4th century BC. That gives you an idea of the beginning of the coinage of Yehud. And as you can see, this is a future publication we're preparing with Kathy Lover and Jean-Philippe Fontanelle. This is the first page of the catalog, and as you can see, coins number 1 and 2 are the coins you just saw now, and they will appear as the first Yehud coins. In the meantime, if you're interested in having a look on the Yehud coins, you're welcome to visit the webpage of Jean-Philippe Fontanelle called the Menorah Coin Project. As you can see, the 2 coins that I just showed you appear there. You can enter the website and see all the types of Yehud coins, not only of Yehud coins, but also of later Jewish coins. He has recorded there something like 13,000 coins, which is quite amazing. Okay, now let's turn back to Philistia. That's the earliest coins minted in the area of Palestine. So we're speaking about the invention of coinage around 630. It takes some time for the use of coins in Palestine to actually begin. It's almost like 200 years, so we're talking around 450 BC. The coins of Philistia are minted in 3 main cities, Ashkelon, Ashdod, and Gaza. Some of them you might have heard because of the political problems that we have today. Gaza is now in Palestine, and Ashdod and Ashkelon are in southern Israel. Okay, now we have actually 2 types of Philistine coins. The first type, as you can see, is influenced by Athenian coins, and this is the beginning of coinage in Palestine. Why is it influenced by Athenian coins? There was no minting of coins in Palestine, but Athenian coins, as you will see later in the talk, were already used in the area of Palestine during the 5th century. So people knew about these coins. This is before the monetary transition. They were acquainted with the coins, so the first coins that were minted in our area are copying these Athenian coins because they knew about the motif, and this way it was easier to introduce them to use. So you can see Athenian-style coins, but you can already see what we call the fusion. There is I call a local taste. As you can see, there is something related to Athens, but something that you will never see in Athenian coins because they're very strict. Athena head, the owl, the inscription, the olive spray, and you can see here all type of different motifs. There is another group of coins from Philistia, and this is what we call coins with the Philistine local motifs that you can't find anywhere else. As you can see, this very some of the faces that appear on these coins, and we'll later speak more about them. Okay, so now how do we start? Oops, wait, what happened? Okay. One slide disappeared. How do we start dating these coins? In order to date these coins, we have to first understand the dating of the actual Athenian coins that were circulating in our area. 53 coins, Athenian coins, have been found in archaeological sites in Israel. You see the map, the distribution of the coins. You see that they are actually found all over Israel. And how are these Athenian coins dated? In order to do this, we have here a short presentation of the dating, the actual dating of the coins, the Athenian tetradrachms as it's known today. You have the first group, which is called Kroll Group 454, 415. You see the frontal eye of Athena. Then there is a shift around 390, 380, where the frontal eye becomes more like a profile eye. It starts to open. This is how it looks like. And finally, we have the P-style group, which is the latest one, where the profile eye already fully developed. It's totally open, as you would actually see if you're seeing someone from a profile. More on the coins, you can see that the legend on the earlier groups, the Ate legend begins, the alpha begins more or less at the height of the eye of the owl in the first group. In the P-style group, it goes a little bit lower. And also the palmette that appears in the helmet of Athena looks like the letter P, and this is why it's called P-style. So this was the usual chronology of the Athenian coins until several years ago. And 2 persons, Jacques Kroll and Christophe Flamand, actually realizes there is a fourth group in between, and this comes exactly between the first group and the two lower groups. And how does this group look like? These are the two fellows in charge. As you can see, I'm highlighting the publication Revue Belge and also Revue de Neuf, so we see that two are Belgian, were published in Belgium. This is a tribute to Francois again. Okay, so these are the two main publications of this group. And how does this group look like? You have it here. The name is not very good according to both of them, but they call it the three-quarter profile aisle. So this is an eye that begins to open, but it's only barely open. So that's the definition. This is how the eye looks like. And this is how one of these coins would actually look like. Okay? Tutto bene? Okay. How do we date these coins? Now, if we take the work of Aristophanes, the frogs, which is dated to 405, now we're changing pages, arriving to actually line 719, and there we read that the new gold coinage struck in previous year from the figure of Nike appears like the old currency to have been exceptionally pure to judge from the extant specimens. They are opposed to the debased currency consisting of bronze pieces coined the day before yesterday. So what are we talking about? We are actually, Aristophanes is talking about two types of coins. One are the gold coins, which are struck in 407, 405. If you check the eyes of both of these coins, they're exactly the three-quarter profile eye that we saw on the Athenian tetradrachm. And if we go to the Fouret coins, which is the other coins that Aristophanes mentions, these are coins found in Piraeus, you can see that all of them also depict exactly the same eye. And why is all this so important to us? Okay, so this is the group. So the coins are dated at least to 407, 405. Both Christophe Lamenne and Jacques Rode believe they were probably issued one decade before. So the dating of these coins goes between 420 to 390 BC. Okay? Why is all this important? Because if I told you before that there are 53 Athenian tetradrachms found in Israel, most of them, as you can see now, and these are the coins actually found in excavations in Israel, most of them, 75%, belong to the group dated now to 420 to 390. That's a very important chronological point. And just to show you that the chronology really works, this is a hoard found in Dalton in northern Israel. Some of you might know it, they have good wine there. The hoard contains 15 Tyrian shekels, which are dated by Tyrian chronology to 425, 394, more or less the same dates as the Athenian coins. And together with these 15 coins, what do we find? An Athenian tetradrachm of that type, which is exactly the same period. So that gives you an idea that the chronology really works. Also, now we were speaking until now only of coins found in controlled archaeological excavations, and this is really a problem because most of the coins that we find of the period don't come from archaeological excavations. If we would have to write a book or just a publication about Philistine coins, Yehud coins, or Sumerian coins, it would have been 3 short articles, and that would be it, because most of the material that we find actually comes from the antiquity market. So we also have to have an open mind of the antiquity market. Also in the antiquity market, most of the coins that appear, the Athenian tetradrachms, are also dated to that period. And this I can prove because this coin that you see here, I found it myself when I was a kid. And then I made it a necklace for my mother. And this is also a tribute to Francois. This shows you the only dog that ever wore an Athenian tetradrachm. That's not Gaia, that's Rigi. That's our old dog. She liked it. My mother didn't like the idea, but the dog did. Okay, the other group found in Israel, 13 coins are from the P-style group, which you see here, which are dated to 353 to 290, a later period. And these coins are only found in Israel from Mount Gerizim, which is the area of Samaria, and south. They're not found in the north. During this period in the north, what we find are Tyrian coins. Okay, the Tyrian coins are circulating in the north, and the Athenian tetradrachms are circulating in the south. And this is very interesting for the chronological development of commerce that we see in Palestine. Okay, now why is all this important? Because now if I'm going to take and analyze the Philistine coins that, as I told you, are copying the Athenian-styled coins, and here you see 3 different groups of coins, you will see that the first group that has the frontal eye depicts 12 specimens out of the 90 types of Philistine coins of the Athenian-style group. The 3/4 profile eye has 54. And the last group, which is the profile eye, it has 11 coins. And actually none from Ashdod and Ashkelon, so that also gives us a chronology of what was happening in these 2 cities. But what you can see is that the main group that influenced the minting of coins in Philistia is the 3/4 profile eye. And this way we can date the coins of this group of Philistine coins to around 420 to 390. Some people told me that maybe that doesn't work because it could have happened, of course, in a later period. But if I ask all the women here if you would be wearing clothes which is in fashion like 5 or 10 years ago, I don't think so. You will be wearing what's in fashion now in Paris, no? Hopefully. So I think that you have a very good chronology when you do that. Now, if we turn to the other coins, which are the coins depicting women and men, but not Athenian heads, and this is just one of the examples, we see something very interesting. For instance, here is a typical Philistine male head, okay? Now, if we take only the eye, the nose, and the mouth of this of this Philistine coin, and we put near it an Athenian tetradrachm, and now we superimpose the nose, the eye, and the mouth of this Philistine coin, you will see that they match exactly. In other words, the Athenian coins were also influencing the coins the Philistine coins that were depicting male and female figures. And this you can also prove when you go and you take, and we do the same example of which type of eyes appear in the male and in the woman figure coins. You will see that there are 21% of frontal eyes, 78 of 3/4 profile eye, and actually not even one example of the fully developed profile eyes. So this shows you that most of the Philistine coins are actually minted in this period of 420 to 390. Okay, now I want to speak to you about some of the influence on the coins. If we're talking about fusion, what is really great about these coins in our area is that they were influenced by Achaemenid motifs, by Greek motifs, Anatolian motifs, Phoenician motifs, Egyptian motifs, and each time they made a die and it broke and actually made a new die. So you have a huge variety of motifs. I think we have more or less 400 different coin types. And when I'm talking about coin types, it's if I have a drachm and an oval, then they are the same type. They are not 2 types, they're only still 1. So you have a huge variety of coins. So Achaemenid influence, this is just a very few examples. Here you have the hybrid heads from the clay ceiling, the Ur coffin hoard, 450, 380. These are some of the Philistine coins. You can see they are very reminiscent. And as you can see in the coin on the top, there is a duck in the beard, in the clay ceiling, also in the coin, on the lower coin of Ashdod, you also see that they inserted a duck in the beard of the man. This is one of the nicest coins. It's a drachm struck in Ashdod, unique coin. What do we see here? So first of all, you have the head of a man looking to your right. You have a head of a lion to the left. You have a horn of a bull. You have a wing of an eagle. And you have a beard of a goat. Now, if we take this coin and actually take out the head of the lion and the horn of the bull, you can actually see that the wing of the eagle and the beard of the goat become the hairs of the man. So there's something like optical illusion, which we'll also see later. And if you take back the head of the lion, you can see it's very reminiscent to the iconography in the statues of Persepolis. You can see it's very similar. Okay, now if we go to the reverse of this coin, you have what kids call push me, pull me. In Dr. Dolittle, you have actually two bulls, one to one side and the other one to the other side. The legend in Western Semitic letters, Ashdod, as you can see now. And where does this motif come actually from? You can see this is a double capitals from the main heartland of the Persian Empire. And this is the top of the columns. This is how they were decorated. And what's very interesting is that this motif appears in the main Persian heartland. There is one of these capitals found in Sidon, and then the motif appears suddenly in Ashdod, in the south of Palestine. So it's like a motif traveling around from the Persian heartland, stopping only in one place in the way, and then appearing at the very far end of the Persian Empire. And this is how the double protome capitals look like. That's from a photograph from the Louvre Museum in Paris. Another of a typical motif, you see a horse that has his hair binded by a ribbon. And you can see two coins. One, the one in the top is from Ashkelon. The one on the lower coin is from Gaza. And the two depict the horse exactly with the ribbon and the hair with the ribbon on the top. Composite figures, again, for clear ceilings from Ur excavations. And you can see that these are figures that have the body of a lion, a wing of a bird, and they have the face of the Persian king. And you can see you also have coins from our area exactly with the same motif. This is just a nicer example. And this is another beautiful example. Again, there are only two examples of this coin. The right side depicts the head of Athena, normal Athenian style. Again, you can see it's exactly the same type we saw before, 420, 390. The other side depicts a city wall with 2 palm trees and a lion in the bottom. Where does this motif come from? If we go, here's just the drawing of the coin so you can see it more clear. And of course, the first thing we would think is that these coins are actually imitating the Sidonian double shekels from more or less the same period, because they look very similar. You see a city wall and a galley below. Okay, so this is the Sidonian double shekel. It has the motif of the city wall, and since the most important thing about the Sidonians, of the Phoenicians, was that they were lords of the sea, and they have the galley, so they put as the main motif in the coin a galley. Okay, and if we go back to our coin, okay, you see that you have the two palm trees. Let's have just a closer look at the palm trees. And just to give you an idea what you would be seeing from this city walls, you probably see the desert around, because this is probably one of the cities of Gaza or Ashkelon in southern Philistia. So the question, does it really come the motif from the coins of Sidon? If we have a closer look and we see the motif appearing in the Achaemenid immortals, these are the guards from the glazed walls of the Apadana and Susa. We have a closer look. It's easier to see if we see a drawing, and then if you have a close-up of this drawing, you will see that the garment of these soldiers has exactly the same motif of the city wall with a mount below. So this means that this motif, again, travels directly from the main Persian heartland. It arrives at the very far end of the fifth Persian saptree, which is something very strange again. Egyptian influence. Okay, again, two Athenian coins. The coin on the right, I bought it in 1998 in Geneva in an auction. And I came back to Israel, and I took my son, Stav. He was 1998, 6 years old. And I asked him, Stav, what is interesting about this coin? He says, Father, okay, now you can see the drawing. And he says, Father, you don't see the coin has two eyes of Horus. He was 6. No numismatist saw it, but my kid, he was studying a class of Egyptian art in the museum in front of us, so it was very obvious for him that this motif appeared. So instead of the olive leaves that appear in the helmet of Athena, you can see that they have been replaced with the eyes of the Horus. 2 eyes in the tetradrachm, and in the drachms, this is a smaller motif, and this is very common to coins of the area. When the coin becomes smaller, you have less depiction. So instead of 2 eyes of Horus, you can see it has only 1. Okay, now what is interesting is that when I went to buy this coin, I was flying in the plane with two dealers from Israel, and they told me, this coin is fake, don't buy it. And I say, why do you think it's fake? And they say, no, the composition of the coin, it looks strange. And I told them, look, it has 2 eyes of Horus. And this was 1998. The coins, all of this that you see here, many of them have already been published, including by the famous George Francis Hill in 1914. He published one of these coins, but nobody noticed that there is an eye of Horus. The actual first publication of an eye of Horus appeared in an article I wrote by chance in 1996. And this coin was already known from at least 30 years in the market before. So how can you even think that someone is going to fake a coin and add a motif that nobody knew existed before? So it must have been something that the coin was real. And actually, the moment I noticed that there's an eye of Horus, I just started looking at all the Philistine coins, and you can see there are many eyes of Horus. You just have to open your eyes. Okay, Athenian influence, we already saw it, but just another example. This is the coin we saw before. The reverse of the coin has the Athenian owl with open wings. There was only one coin. That's the coin I actually bought in Geneva. Recently, in a hoard that some of you might have heard, how many coins? 35,000 coins found in, probably in Turkey. One of the coins appearing in that hoard is this amazing coin. This is the second known specimen. As you can see there, both the coin we have in the museum and this new coin are struck from the same pair of dies. You can see that Athena is has a tear in her eye. It's not a tear, it's just a die break. So that shows you that this coin is also authentic, found in a hoard now in Turkey. And here you see the motif of the owl with the open wings. How do we know it's a local coin and not an Athenian coin? You can see it has the Phoenician letters Aleph and Nun, the first and last letters of the city of Ashkelon. So we know the coin was minted in Ashkelon. And this is copying, of course, the famous Athenian decadrachms, which have the same motif and are dated to earlier periods. Just another example of an Athenian motif. You see that they copied, and this we already saw it in another lecture, they copied the motif, but the motif didn't have any meaning at all for the local people. They were just copying something and just adding. You see, they copy the letters, ate, and instead of putting the theta, they put a head of Athena. This would never happen in Athenian coins, but it do happens in our local issues. Another coin, here you see the owl, which I'll turn in a minute. And I put it this way so you can see the two small lions that appear in the coin. Here they are, the two lions. If we take the coin now, we flip it 90 degrees counterclockwise, you will see the standing owl, the lions, and again the two letters Aleph and Nun for Ashkelon. Of course, if we are in the Near East, there are of course Near Eastern motifs in these coins. Some of the most common motifs are the cow suckling motif, which you see in a coin in an earlier material from the 2nd millennium BC. This is the drawing of the coin. This is the actual coin, so you can see the coin really exists. The woman in the window motif that appears on ivory from Samaria, and on coins again of Ashdod, you can see there's a great similarity in the depiction. This is another interesting relation to Near Eastern motifs. You see this beautiful coin minted in Ashdod. You can see it has the 3 letters of Ashdod, but not the first one, which is the Aleph on the right side. It has the Shin, Dalet, and Dalet, the 3 other letters. But how can we read it Ashdod if it has only 3 letters and it's missing the first letter? What you can see in the coin, you see the bull looking backwards, okay? And the bull looking backwards, if we go, this is the Aleph, which is missing in the coin. And if we take the Proto-Canaanite alphabet of the 14th century, we see that the Aleph is actually the Aluf, the bull. So the head of the bull represents actually the missing letter, which is something, again, very strange and only happening in these coins. Greek and Anatolian influence. Of course, one of the most common motifs is the lion attacking a deer. Here you have an hoplite fighting a lion, not the Persian king like in the Sidonian coins, but an hoplite. And this is actually how the coin looks like. The Bes, this is the dwarf monster god. I was recently visiting Wrocław in Poland, and I saw a lot of this dwarf, but they are not, of course, influenced by that, but rather by the Egyptian motifs, which are very commonly found in Israel. Here is how these motifs look like. So you can see that the great influence. Now, if we turn to some matters of chronology, the most common coins found in our area during the 5th and 4th century BC, and especially in the 4th century BC, are small denominations of Athenian style, which don't have any additional letters. So you can see this is like Athenian coins, but in small. It has the head of Athena, the owl, and the 3 letters for Ate. Now, it was commonly thought that these coins actually were minted until the conquest of Alexander the Great, 332. But in a recent work I have been doing, and all this material, I forgot, of course, to say, all this material we're working together with the friend of Wagner, Professor Oren Tal from Tel Aviv University. So one day we were looking at this material and thinking these coins were so predominant in the last phase of the Persian period, maybe they went and were used afterwards. What happened? Alexander the Great comes one day and they stop using coins. What replaced the coins? There is nothing that is replacing the coins. And then we took out actually the publication of the coins found in the city of Ashkelon. And this is from the archaeological report in Ashkelon, which mentions a hoard that I published in the same publication. And if we read here, this is the actual hoard of 31 Athenian-styled obols. And what's written in the archaeological report, and they didn't even show me the report, they published it without telling me what they were going to write. They write, among the most impressive discovery in this destruction layer was a hoard of 31 Philisto-Arabian obols. This is how the coins were called before. This hoard is dated to the 4th century BC. Okay, that was what was thought at the time. And it says, see chapter 19, that's my article, where I write that these coins are from the 4th century BC. If we go down a little bit more in the same text, it says, the same destruction event is attested in grid 57, far away on the western side of the southern wall. Coins found in the contemporary grid 57, phase 3, destruction layer, indicates that Ashkelon was destroyed around 290 BC, early in the Hellenistic period during the reign of Ptolemy I Soter. Soter in Hebrew means that there is a contradiction. And there is indeed, I just realized it now, but there is indeed a contradiction. How can you say that in one destruction layer there is a coins of the 4th century, and 2 lines below you say that this destruction layer is dated to 290? That doesn't really work together. If we see the other coins found in the same layer where the coins, where the Athenian, the Philistine coins were found, the layer is actually dated by this hoard of Alexander the Great tetradrachms and a silver bracelet. The latest coin in this hoard is 290 BC. However, if you check other coins from the area, and here are 2 examples, these are bronze coins, Ptolemaic bronze coins, you see that these coins are dated to 275, 270, and 274, 271. So you actually, the destruction layer is not even 290, but it's even around 270 BC. And this shows that around 270 BC, the Athenian-style obols of Philistia were still in circulation. I don't know if they were still minted, but they were still in use in the area of southern Palestine. So this gives a much farther dating than the end of Alexander the Great. Now, just for comparison, okay, this is more or less what I said now, so we can continue to the next slide. If you take, for instance, this hoard that we published with Kathy Lower and Jean-Philippe Fontanelle, it's the largest hoard of Yehud coins ever found, 35 coins. We call it the Transjordan hoard coming from Jordan in 2015. It has 4 coins of the Persian period, Yehud coins of the Persian period, dated to 340, 332. It also has a big variety of coins dated to 332, 302, and together with all these coins, there are 2 Philistine coins, more or less of the style we saw before with the owl. So you see that these coins again appear in a hoard which is dated after the time of Alexander the Great. The same thing appears in the hoard where I'm publishing now with the Oren Tal, again, with the largest hoard of material found in Palestine, in Israel, from the Persian period. Is a hoard, it's called the Nablus hoard, originally published as a hoard of 965 coins. We were able to track down 751 coins plus 92 pieces of jewelry. This hoard was dated, or we dated it, by the last coin, which is 1 of 16 of a shekel of Mazda of year 21, that's 332 BC. But together with these coins, we also find a Yehud coin, which is dated to a later period, and around 150 Athenian-style obols of the period. So now we are thinking that the hoard might be dated even later than 332, which of course 332 would be very obvious, because we would think that Alexander the Great came and he put someone to be in charge of one of his leaders to be in charge in Samaria. He was killed, and probably after that he wanted to revenge as people from Samaria left and hid the hoard somewhere. That was our basic idea. But now, since it has this Philistine coins, we might think that it was even hoarded much later. A little bit about the relative chronology of the Sumerian coins to wrap things up. Sumerian coins have mostly Achaemenid influence, of course Athenian, but mostly Achaemenid. And these coins are actually found in three main groups. One is the coins found at the excavations of Mount Gerizim. This is the excavation. The site was inhabited from the late Persian period until, like I mentioned to you, 332. This is one group of Sumerian coins. The second group is a hoard, which is called the Samaria hoard, dated, the burial date of this hoard, 352. And finally, the hoard we already saw, the Nablus hoard, with a burial date of 331 or later. And again, to give you, how can you date these coins don't have any dates like coins from the Roman period. So what do? We take the three main finding of coins. This is what you see tabulated now. The numbers that appear are the numbers that appear in the book of Yaakov Meshorer and Shraga Kedar, which is called the Sumerian coinage. And if we compare the three groups, you will see that the numbers that appear, it's difficult to see because they're very small, but you can see that the types are not appearing in each of the three sites. There are only very few coins that appear in more than one site. As you can see, this is type 75, which appears in Mount Gerizim in the Samaria hoard. Okay, the upper coin is the Mount Gerizim coin. The lower coin is the Samaria hoard coin. As I told you, the site of Mount Gerizim probably lasted longer because it was inhabited, so we might think that it's dated to an earlier period. And the Samaria hoard is a little bit later. You can see that both of these coins are actually struck from the same pair of dice. In the upper coin, you can still see the first letter of Samaria, of the name of the city Samaria, which is the Shin. In the lower coin, that's already obliterated. It's not seen. And in addition, in the lower coin, we know it was minted later because you already see a die break, which doesn't appear in the upper coin. So this gives you an inner chronology saying that the coin from Mount Gerizim is earlier in period. If we go back to the table, we can see another example. Now we're taking the Samaria hoard against the Nablus hoard. The Nablus hoard is later in time. And this can also be proved by the coins themselves. So we have the three coins that you see on the top are from the Samaria hoard, and the one in the right in the lower right side is from the Nablus hoard, which is later. So you see in coin 168, you see the beginning of a die break, a die flow near the eye of the owl. In 169, you see that this die flow is bigger. And on the coin from the Nablus hoard, which is struck from the same pair of dies, you can see that the die flow is even bigger. So again, you have a chronological possibility to date these coins. Just to wrap things up, one thing that I really like about the coins of our area is what I call optical illusion. And what is optical illusion? In these coins, second. Okay, so here you have a coin with the head facing right. On the other side, you see a double-headed bess, the figure that we saw before. So you see that bess on the top, bess on the bottom. It has the same mouth. if you turn the coin, you can see it doesn't matter which side you turn the coin, you have, again, the head of a bes with a mutual mouth. That's one example. Another example, you see here a facing head, a face to the right, but look at it a little bit further, you will see that there is a third head. You see in the middle, if you take the eye, the nose, and the mouth, so you see there's a face that you didn't see before. So we actually have 3 faces, not only 2. And my favorite example, here you have a lion to the right. You see he's looking backwards. He has his hind leg and the tail to the back. Now if you turn this coin 90 degrees counterclockwise, you will actually see that what you see on the coin is a head facing right. The hind legs of the lion and the tail become the helmet of the man, and the paw of the lion on the right coin becomes actually the ear of the man. Okay, tutto bene? Okay. Now, this really, you know, when I was working on this material, at the time our dear friend Leo Mildenberg was still alive. And here is Leo Mildenberg. It was a very funny figure. This is his last pictures just before, like 2 weeks or a week before he died. And what was funny is that I asked Leo, he was working on Philistine coins, and asked him, Leo, who were these people that struck these coins? Who were the die engravers? And at the time there was no email, so I sent him a fax, and he sends me a fax back, and it says, Haim, what I'm about to tell you doesn't appear in any of my books. It doesn't appear in any publication of no scholar in the world. And then he said, I don't have the faintest idea. Okay. Thank you very much.